Hey guys, my name is Olga and welcome back to my channel. And today we're gonna try a new palette from Cosmic Brushes, the Leathers. You're gonna see swatches, free looks, wear test, of course. We're gonna discuss everything and we are gonna do some extra swatches. So take a seat and let's start. First look, and today I want to try and combine green color story and slightly blue story. Of course, I can't use all these beautiful shimmers, but I will do my best for trying all matte eyeshadows from this side, and definitely I will try these two beauties, and most likely this one I will try on the lower lid. This shade looks so yummy and beautiful and stunning, but unfortunately I can't do only 3 looks this time. So, yep, and we're gonna draw. Of course, we're gonna draw, and we are gonna start from the liner. Probably I should have taken another one. Anyway, I will start from the basic brown, and I just simply wanna draw a base using this liner. So, starting from this side, gonna have something like connecting and moving this line a little bit out. And of course I'm gonna use a brush for helping myself a little bit with this. Should be nice. It's just simply base. I don't want to layer. And let's have this line super thin and moving it to the inner corner. It's gonna be just simply my base, so for now I'm keeping everything as it is. And switching to the eyeshadows, and I'm gonna start from this beautiful bright blue, and actually it contains a bit of green, and it's gonna be our main shade. So I'm grabbing it on kind of small brush and gonna blend this line a little bit, starting from the line as it is and layering the shade a little bit over and above and blending at the same time, fully covering this line. And I'm gonna use the darker shade for adding extra definition. Now let's try this beautiful light blue shade. I like such shades. Pastel are super nice. Grabbing it on bigger brush and gonna use this shade for blending this one. Starting from the... Oh, this one is nice. At least when you layer it, but the truth is that it's not that easy to blend them together. So you see, I still have harsh line and they kind of sit near each other. Of course, I will blend them together, of course, but it's gonna take time. But these two guys, they look nicely together, like these two shades. Interesting. Layering a little bit more and moving the shade a little bit out. Of course, I'm not done with this beauty, and now we are gonna try the darker shade from the palette. And I'm gonna add extra definition with this shade. Adding it near the line and gonna blend the shade into the previous. Back to the previous shade and blending the edge right here. So blending these two shades together. Let's move to the green story, and I'm gonna start from this side and I want to have an extra wing, a kind of a wing. So this one is gonna be our base. Grabbing this shade on a medium, I would say, size brush. Unexpectedly, this shade is not dusty because it contains shimmers. And when I see shimmers in matte eyeshadows, I'm kind of super skeptical because in most of the cases, such matte eyeshadows, they are dusty. And starting from the outer corner, and kind of, oh no, it's way too big. Okay, I should take something smaller. Taking this one and kind of creating a base for my future smudged wing. So applying the shade a little bit, or maybe I won't have it. I don't know, we'll see. For now, that's the plan. How it goes, I don't know. Well, I'm not that impressed by this shade because you have to layer it and it's not that pigmented. Well, actually all matte eyeshadows here are kind of, I would say not the greatest. You know what, let's try to add some shimmers because I want to control what I'm gonna have. So we are gonna start from the darkest shade, from this one. Grabbing it on a flat brush. It's doable, that's great. And applying closer to the outer corner. These two, fine. Fine. Okay, I'm gonna keep it like this. Apply until my line, upper line, and blending to the matte, I would say. Interesting shade, looks beautiful, and it shifts a little bit to blue. Changing this, no, not changing the side, grabbing another brush, bigger one. And now let's try to add this beauty. It must be super interesting. It contains extra blue shimmers. It's a little bit light. And applying it in the center. Beautiful, a light green shade. And I should add it near the line. So grabbing a smaller brush and applying the shade till the line. It doesn't really have visible base, so it's far better to apply it over something. And ideally I should mix these two somehow, because currently I have kind of a harsh line between these two and I don't like having such things, so I'm kind of blending one over the other. And in the inner corner, let's try to add this beautiful mint shade. At least we will try. Great, I'm gonna keep it. And moving it slightly on the upper lid, right here. It contains even a little bit of blue. Well, actually it's expected. Green contains blue, that's true. And as well, applying a little bit below my line. Just a little bit. And of course, we are not done with upper line. And let's try this beautiful dark green shade. Actually, it's more like dark olive. And we're gonna draw a basic one. Because first of all, we should try it. Second thing, we need extra. So starting from the outer corner and from the base. Connecting, and of course I'm gonna blend edge a little bit. Moving to the lower lid, and I'm starting from this one, from this shade, and applying it closer to the outer corner. Right here. Now we are gonna try beautiful, beautiful shimmer. And I'm gonna add it right here. Grabbing this beauty on a brush. Oh, it looks so interesting and yummy. You can easily do beautiful blue smoky eyes with this palette. It's better to layer this shade because it looks a little bit not pigmented and a bit patchy. So be careful. And if you apply it over something, should be fine. But if you're gonna apply it like this, might be a little bit patchy. And in between, I'm gonna add this beautiful bright blue shade. It's a transition one right here. Because these two, you can even mix them. Near the lash line between the lashes, add in black eyeliner. And in the waterline, add in a light blue, kind of light blue shade. Actually, it's more turquoise. It's Vivienne Sabo in shade 5. Do I like it here? Well, it's okay. Keeping it. Finished look. And of course, I used false lashes today. They're not the best one, but okay, I want to finish them. And I like what I have currently on my eyes. I can't really tell you that it was easy. I can't really tell you, but the result is quite lovely. Especially I like this beautiful blue story, and especially this shade. Oh, it's so yummy, so interesting. Shimmers were perfect and shimmers are perfect. So let me share with you some thoughts. Today I've tried actually 8 shades. Not bad, great result. And if we talk about dark shades, it's not that easy to work with them. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to work with them because they can stuck a little bit. So if you want to blend them, you have to spend some time. And it's not that easy to move them, especially this shade, this one, and this one. Be aware that this shade stains, and in most of the cases, such shades, in all the cases, they stain. At least all shades I've tried, which were like this, they stain. They stain. So yeah, talking about these beautiful light shades, they are great. I think that they are awesome. You can layer them, and of course I suggest layering them because otherwise they may appear not that bright and not that visible. This shade, I'm not that impressed. It's a little bit patchy, honestly, and you have to layer it as well. And if you want to try to blend this shade using this one, it's hard. It's hard, and I would say that it's not that easy and not that possible. Well, you can spend some time, but it's more, I would say, time consuming. Talking about beautiful shimmers, I don't have any questions. They are great. The only thing that this shade has visible base, and it's far better to apply it over something, or you have to layer it. This one, it doesn't have visible base, it's more like a topper, and I suggest applying it over something, or as a part of some basic daily looks, you can apply it as it is, actually, without layering. And it should be nice and it should be great. So yeah, my eyeshadows are quite tricky, honestly. And if you don't layer them, they may appear not that bright and not that pigmented, actually. So let me tell you what I'm wearing currently on lips. Lip liner from Colourpop, shade, I think it's Ash Tone. Yeah, Ash Tone lipstick from L'Oreal, shade 102. And a lip gloss from Charlotte Tilbury. Guess the shade. Of course, we'll talk. Yeah. Like this look. Like it. And especially like the inner corner and toppers. In overall, everything looks fine. And final look is great, but yeah, I wish it was easier. It was easier. So now I'm gonna show you eye look closely, and we're gonna see each other in the evening. I have my makeup on today around 10 hours, and on this side I haven't used an eyeshadow primer, and on this side I've used it. And here, yeah, eyeshadows, they started to crease. It still doesn't look that bad, but yeah, they can crease, and it's expected in my case. Here, everything looks kind of perfect, I would say. Yeah, I have an issue in the inner corner. My mascara is dead. I should throw it away. Yeah, hello, L'Oreal. Yeah, it's mascara from L'Oreal. It's telescopic, and unfortunately, it transfers quite badly. Talking about color story, I think that all eyeshadows are quite bright, and actually I don't really have any questions except shimmers. Actually, I can see some shimmers right here, and it seems like shimmers I have on lower lid, they can kind of move. And look at it, eyeshadows, even not even eyeshadows, shimmers, they can crease on the lower lid. Actually, it's a little bit unexpected. It happens rarely, I would say, but in this case, it happened. Second look, and today we're gonna try pink color story, and I wanna do something kind of simple, and I wanna try how blendable all shades are. And I wanna try and wanna check this beautiful dark, I would say it's more like berry, berry shade. And I will probably use these two for blending this one. Most likely I will try this shade and this one as well. Talking about our beautiful shimmers, I will definitely try this too. And I wanna add this one as well. Yeah, kind of. At least that's the plan. Let's go, and we are gonna start from the darker shade. I'm not that sure in this shade because I think that it might be a little bit patchy, and that's why I wanna check it out. So we're starting from the darker shade and gonna apply it in the outer corner, of course. And let's take a look. I hope it's blendable. I hope it's not patchy, but I'm not quite sure. And applying as well a little bit more right here. Moving the shade till the crease. I need the smaller brush. And applying on the lower lid as well. Well, it appears a little bit, not even a little bit, it is patchy. And it can stuck near the lines. I will try to fix it, of course. But I can't really guarantee. So you have to kind of press this shade. And ideally, I would prefer using something as a base. I mean, liquid eyeshadows or eyeliner for avoiding this issue, because currently it doesn't really look that nice, I would say. Moving to a mid-tone shade, and I'm gonna use this one as a mid-tone shade. And now it's time to check whether these two guys are blendable or no. Starting from the crease, of course, and from this line. Oh, they don't. They don't. Just take a look. I can't mix them together. Oh. Okay, I will have to work a little bit differently. I got it. So for now, adding this one, and I'm gonna return back to the previous one, and I will try kind of drag it over this one, because these two, they just look, this one is fully stuck. I can't move it at all. Grabbing a big fluffy brush, and let's try light pink shade, and I'm gonna use it for blending the previous one, at least. So starting from the inner part, same thing, guys. It seems like it's way better to kind of apply shades over each other and return back to previous shade, and because it's not that easy to blend them, especially darker. These two light shades, they are kind of okay. We can work with each other, not perfectly, but we can. But you have to spend time. but with the darkest, not that great, not that great. Back to the darker shade, and I'm gonna do following. I'm gonna kind of move this shade a little bit over the previous one because I can't blend them. Okay, I got it. Now I will try to move one over the other. So a little bit different technique, and at least it should help, at least a little bit. Moving. I almost don't have pigment on my brush, just moving what's left after applying this darker shade. Doing my best for removing harsh lines. Moving. Now it looks better, not perfectly, but definitely better. Let's try the darkest shimmer. I'm gonna add it closer to the outer corner. It has visible base, dark one, so it's better to apply it over something dark, or you have to layer it, of course. Beautiful, interesting, and might be used as a part of smoky eye. Interesting shade. Changing the side. Now I'm gonna add the star. This beautiful. This shade is wonderful. It's so great. Applying it closer to this one and in the center. Oh. It looks kind of pretty. Amazing shade. It's a kind of a triochrome. We have 3 different shades here. Golden, a bit of light green, and pink. Amazing. Applying a little bit above the crease and closer to, I'm gonna add more. Closer to in the corner, I'm gonna add another one. But this one is definitely dark. Let's try to add this one closer to the inner corner. Okay, I think that they should work nicely together because this one has a bit of light pink. So, yeah, it looks great. Moving to the lower lid, and let's try to add this shade. Currently, and I'm gonna apply it closer to the inner corner as well. In the inner corner, what I'm gonna wear in the inner corner. Let's try to add this shade. And adding a little bit more. Okay. As you can see, it's way better to layer the shade, trying to mix these two together, but I know that it's not doable, of course. So back to the dark shade, and for avoiding this issue, in between, I'm gonna add shimmer, of course. If you see that you can't mix some shades, apply shimmer. It's a way out. And let's try to add this one. These two, they look kind of similar. The only thing that here we have a bit more pink, here we have more golden. For daily looks, for beautiful, bright daily looks, these two shades are great. So applying right here. It seems quite fine. Near the lash line and between the lashes, I'm gonna add Essence shade 5. And in the waterline, I'm gonna add something extremely beautiful from Trend It Up. Unfortunately, the shade is was limited, and was released several years ago. But the shade is something. Applying it fully in the waterline. Finished look. And shimmers I've tried today, they are great. They are perfect. I'm in love, especially this beautiful shade. It's so yummy. It's so gorgeous. It's so silky, soft, creamy, and it shifts. And it's a duochrome. Oh, not even a duochrome. It's a triochrome. And I'm impressed. My eyeshadows are kind of questionable. Let me tell you what I'm wearing on lips. Actually, two products, lip liner from Lamel, shade 7, and a lip gloss from Charlotte, shade Pillow Talk. And I can't really tell you that it was easy. It wasn't. Especially related to matte eyeshadows. You can't mix this shade. You have to layer them and glide one shade over the other one. And second thing, if we talk about all matte eyeshadows from this palette, I can't really tell you that they are super pigmented. If you apply a little bit, they are not going to be that pigmented. You have to layer these matte eyeshadows, and ideally it's far better to apply them over something, and it's better to use liquid eyeshadows or gel eyeliners or something like this. If we talk about primers, I mean basic eyeshadow primers without any colors, well, it's okay. It's okay, but it's not gonna be enough. You still will have to layer these shades. And I think that actually these 4 shades are kind of a little bit patchy, and this one actually as well. It's not that easy to work with this palette. It's not that easy. But if you are used to such matte eyeshadows, well, it's gonna be fine. But still, you're gonna spend a bit more time than usually. Shimmers are great, they are wonderful, and they are perfect. I like all shimmers, and I haven't tried only this one. I think others I've tried at least a little bit, but I've tried all of them, and I haven't tried these 3 matte eyeshadows. And as a part of final look, I will do my best for trying all these 4 shades. So, you know my impressions. I can't tell you that this palette is bad. No, it's not, but it's tricky. It's tricky, especially if you're new to makeup. So you have to take it into account. Okay, now I'm gonna show you I look closely, and we're gonna see each other in the evening. I have my makeup on today around 10 hours, and everything looks perfectly. Yeah, eyeshadows started to crease a little bit right here. I haven't used an eyeshadow primer here. Here, everything looks perfectly. Matte eyeshadows from the wearing point of view are great, and everything looks fine. At least I think so. Final look, guys, and today we are gonna draw. Yep, again. And I'm gonna draw my lines using this beautiful liner Kayal from Catrice shade 40. So I'm gonna right now draw a base, and later on I'm gonna use matte eyeshadows for setting this liner. And ready, steady, go. Of course, grabbing brushes, because I will definitely need them. And I'm gonna draw main line, and it's gonna be most likely quite long. So for now, drawing a basic wing, dragging the tail out, and I wanna have something extremely long today. As well, I wanna have a second wing right here, and something interesting, most likely I want to connect this line to this one, kind of drawing extra line and moving it to this main line, to the main wing. And if you thought that we are done, no, we aren't. I want to draw an extra line right here. And I'm not sure whether I want to have something funny in the inner corner, or I don't want to have. I don't want to have. I will definitely draw an inner line right here, or no, it's not going to be a line, an inner line, but you will see what I'm going to do. For now, that's it. For now, I'm done. And now I should set everything with powder, with eyeshadows. And I'm gonna start today from this darkest shade. And partially, I'm gonna blend this shade using this one. The lightest one I'm gonna use most likely in the inner corner. So, setting and fully applying this shade over my lines. Applying this beautiful shade near the lash line on the lower lid, just a little bit, and I'm gonna use this beautiful orange. Yeah, this shade is a little bit orange for blending this one. At least I will try, but we know that everything is not that easy with blending here. So if it doesn't work, it means that I will have to apply the darker shade over the orange one. So I will have to glide. No. Anyway, applying this shade fully on the lower lid, at least for now. And back to the dark one. And I'm gonna kind of not blending, but more gliding and applying the shade over the orange one. Unfortunately, that's life with these matte eyeshadows, but that's okay. At least now I'm used to. Now I want to try the last matte shade, and I'm gonna apply it near the inner corner, and I'm gonna add it in the crease right here. And as well, I want to add this shade a little bit above my lines right here, kind of moving it, blending, layering it. And as well, let's add it a little bit in the inner corner right here. Now, I think that you want to have some fun, and so do I. I want to add this beautiful light blue shade right here between my lines. So kind of covering this area fully. Now I'm switching to light green, and I'm gonna do more or less the same thing, but I'm gonna add this shade right here. Between my lines, and kind of moving the shade to nowhere. Now we are gonna add a star, and our today's star is this one. We haven't tried this shade yet, so we are gonna do it right now. Grabbing it on a flat brush, and I'm gonna start from the center, right here. I will probably have to add some extra glitters, some transition shades, but we will see. Layering, and not that impressed, honestly. It's a little bit, it's far better to apply it over something, I would say. It doesn't really have a super visible base, and it looks a little bit transparent. Okay, layering it a little bit. Okay, I have an idea. Let's add this shade closer to the inner corner, and this one I'm gonna add closer to the outer corner. I don't know about the result, but I hope that they will work. Blending these two a little bit. Not that impressed. Still not that impressed. Okay, let's try the darkest one. And let's add it in the outer part of my... Okay. Maybe I will have to add matte eyeshadow, because this shade is, again, way better to apply over something. Looks a little bit dirty, honestly. Okay, anyway, too late. Let's add this one near the lines, because it looks too dirty currently. Oh no, I need something smaller. Okay. Covering this area near the lines. And partially applying the shade near this shimmer. And probably I will layer the shimmer over this matte eyeshadow. In the inner corner, let's add this shade. Actually, it looks fine. Actually, it looks fine, but not fully finished, at least for now. Let's draw an inner line. For now, using Patrice eyeliner. And over, I'm gonna use... I wanted to do something else. Okay, anyway, it's already too late. I forgot about that. And now setting it with the darker shade I used today. And in the waterline, I'm gonna add this beautiful bright shade from LA Girl, and shade is called Fresh. Adding it in the waterline, yeah, great. Final look, and it's gonna be our review look. I like what I have currently on my eyes, and yeah, looks quite interesting. Let me tell you what I'm wearing currently on lips. These two products, lip balm from Vivienne Sabo, shade 1, and a lip liner in shade 66 from Unbezahlte. Talking about the shades I've tried today, honestly, they're okay. They're okay, but if we talk about matte eyeshadows, they are way too specific. You have to be careful with them. Unfortunately, you can't simply blend all these matte eyeshadows. You have to kind of layer them, you have to glide, and yeah, everything is not that easy. But metallics, shimmers, oh my gosh, they are perfect. They look wonderful. So guys, now you're gonna see eye look closely, and of course you're gonna see one more wear test, and we will discuss everything. I have my makeup on today around 9 hours, and on this side I've used an eyeshadow primers and everything looks perfectly. On this side I haven't used an eyeshadow primers, and I can't really tell you that this side looks bad. No, everything looks perfectly today, and eyeshadows, they didn't really crease, and I like, no issues at all. We are gonna start from some basic information. This eyeshadow palette is made in China. We have here 20 eyeshadows, and total weight is 20.6569 grams. Sorry. And this eyeshadow palette costs, if I'm not mistaken, around 37 euro. But if you live in Europe, you have to pay for the delivery, of course. And total value is going to be somewhere here. I will try to find it. This palette is fully new to me. This brand is fully new to me. I have never tried any eyeshadow palettes from this brand before, and I always wanted to try. And partially I'm impressed, partially I'm disappointed. So first of all, I'm going to share you some thoughts, some thoughts and some impressions. What I do like about this palette is shimmers. I think that shimmers are super great, and we have one beautiful triochrome here, and the quality of this triochrome is great. Texture is super thin, silky, so easy to work with it, so easy to apply with a brush, and actually you can easily apply all shimmers from this palette with a brush, and I think for me, it's crucial. Honestly, for me, it's crucial because I do prefer applying shimmers with a brush. Of course, sometimes I can apply them with fingers, but I do prefer using brushes. And moreover, we have beautiful, interesting shades here, beautiful, interesting combinations, and I'm impressed by this. But what I don't really like about this palette is matte eyeshadows. They're tricky. First of all, they are tricky. And if you have first eyeshadow palettes from Beauty Bay, you know what I mean. Because when eyeshadow palettes from Beauty Bay were released, especially first palettes, they weren't that creamy as they are currently are. I mean that at the beginning they were a little bit dry. I mean, matte eyeshadows were dry, and you had to be extremely careful while working with this eyeshadows because it's more like pressed pigment, I would say. Dry pressed pigment, and you have to layer this pigment, and sometimes these eyeshadows in overall they can appear patchy. And same thing here. They appear patchy, especially darker shades. All dark shades, they kind of patchy a little bit, so you have to be careful. Moreover, it's not that easy to blend them together. You can't really blend them together. You have to kind of apply one shade, and then you have to kind of glide and apply the second shade a little bit over, so for not having patches, for having beautiful beautiful lines, beautiful shades, for blending everything into skin. And it's not that easy. If you're new to makeup, it's not that easy to do. Yes, of course, you can use one single shade. You can apply it all over your eyelid, and it may look fine. And especially it looks fine with these beautiful light shades, unexpectedly. But for instance, this shade, you can't really apply it fully on the eyelid because it may look a little bit patchy, honestly. And it's tricky. It's tricky. For a beginner, this palette is tricky, especially matte eyeshadows. So if you're not new to makeup, well, first of all, you know what I mean by not mixing shades. And the second thing, you probably know how to work with such eyeshadows, with such pigmented eyeshadows and such dry, a little bit dry eyeshadows. I can't really tell you that these matte eyeshadows are super dry. No, but if you don't grab a lot on a brush, you these eyeshadows may not appear that pigmented. Now, partially I've described you the quality already. Sorry. Okay, let's talk about the quality. Matte eyeshadows are super, super pigmented if you layer them and if you grab appropriate amount of a product on a brush. If you grab just a little bit, they may appear not that bright and not that pigmented. And you have to layer them, especially you have to layer light eyeshadows, and actually it's expected at some point. Blending, not that easy to blend, especially dark shades with lighter shades. You have to kind of play a game. You have to first of all apply, for instance, light shade, then you have to apply mid-tone shade and kind of glide it over light, and then you have to apply the darkest shade. And don't try to mix them. Please don't try. It's useful. It's useless. Sorry, because it doesn't make sense, and you can't really mix them as you're used to. So, moving to shimmers. Shimmers are perfect, just simply perfect. I'm impressed. From the wearing point of view, they can crease. They can crease a little bit. If you have deep eyes, hooded eyes, oily skin, they will definitely crease. So use liquid eyeshadows before applying them, or use simply eyeshadow primers, just in case. Matte eyeshadows, from the wearing point of view, were great. I can't really tell you that I had some issues while wearing. No, even light eyeshadows, they were okay. After 12 hours, I could see them. They were in place and everything was great and perfect. Let's talk about the color store. And from this side, we have something green and blue. And from this side, we have pink brown story with a little bit of orange. And when I look at this palette, I can definitely see 4 color stories. Pink one, brown one, blue one, and green one. So, for instance, you can use these 5 shades for doing a look, and you can easily use these 5 shades for doing a look, these 5 and these 5. And it's great. I would say that it's perfect because you don't really have to think how you can mix the shade, how and which shades you can combine. Everything is already done. You can just simply open and use, and that's great. And small warning for you. I know that everyone likes the mixed in blue and green. These 2 shades in overall, they look nicely together, but you can't mix them together. You have to separate them, because if you mix them, you're gonna have something brown or brown gray in between, and it would look dirty. So you can combine these shades, yes, but you don't have to, you shouldn't mix them together. As an option, you can draw a wing, and for instance, you can use pink story on upper lid and green story on lower lid. and everything is going to be fine. As well, you can use a shimmer in between. For instance, you're going to draw a green wing on one side, and you would like to draw a pink line in the inner corner, okay? For mixing these two guys, for kind of creating a nice look, use something in between, a shimmer. You should use a shimmer, and in this case, everything is going to be perfect, everything is going to be fine. And this palette, this color story, reminds me a little bit this new palette from Beauty Bay, and they look kind of similar from the color story point of view, but they are not exactly the same. This palette, first of all, has less green and blue, and we have several even gray shades here. Here we have more green and blue. Yeah, of course, we have some pink shades here and pink shades here, but I would say that this palette is more pink, and this palette is more for daily looks, while this palette is more for having fun and for creating some nice, super creative looks. And now let's do some swatches. And we're gonna start from matte eyeshadows, at least I will try. And our first shade for today is gonna be this one from Cosmic Brushes. And if you have this palette from Beauty Bay Wilderness, we have kind of similar shade from this palette. If I'm not mistaken, this one, yeah, this one. Are they the same? Honestly, not really. I would say that the shade from Beauty Bay is lighter than this shade from Cosmic Brushes. And I've just recalled, be careful with these 5 shades because they can stain. And apply them over something. Because if you apply them on bare skin, it's not that easy to remove them. So be careful. Next palette is gonna be again from Beauty Bay, and we have an interesting bright blue with green undertone shade here. And we have something extremely similar here. And I would say that these two shades, they are more or less the same. But I don't know, I would prefer probably this shade from Cosmic Brushes because the quality is a little bit, I would say, better. And matte eyeshadows here are a little bit more creamy than here. Here we have pressed pigment, and in this particular palette, matte eyeshadows are a little bit dry. Next palette is gonna be again from Beauty Bay, and this time we have a palette Love Note, and we have a beautiful light pink shade here, and it looks quite similar to light pink shade from Cosmic Brushes. Are they the same? Well, not really, but in some cases, depending on a specific look, these two shades, they may look exactly the same on eyelid. The next palette is going to be from Huda Beauty, Rose Quartz, and we have a beautiful, again, a light pink shade here, and it looks kind of similar to this light pink shade from Cosmic Brushes. And again, in some cases, these two shades, depending on a specific look, are gonna look exactly the same. Natasha Denona and Pastel Palette, and we have a beautiful light mint shade here. And it looks kind of similar to this light pink shade from Cosmic Brushes. And again, in some cases, they may look quite similar. The only thing that shade from Cosmic Brushes contains more green, while shade from Natasha Denona contains more blue. And our last matte eyeshadow for today is gonna be this one from Huda Beauty, shade Freedom. And at the beginning I thought like, oh, they look so similar. And even on swatches, when you do some swatches, they look kind of similar, but in real life on eyelid they don't look the same. This shade from Cosmic Brushes, honestly, it looks like light and even a little bit bright pink, while in the palette it looks fully neutral and even a little bit beige, but in reality it looks fully different. And this shade from Huda Beauty looks definitely darker and definitely brighter. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Shimmers, and I don't really have that many to show, but we are gonna start from this beautiful star from this palette. And this shade, it's a triochrome, and it reminds me this beautiful single eyeshadow from Bernovich, shade L12. And I think that these two, they look more or less the same, especially as a part of a look. And even on swatches, they look kind of similar. The only thing that this single eyeshadow from Bernovich is going to be a little bit drier if we compare it to cosmic brushes. As well, this shade reminds me a little bit this shade from Beauty Bay, but they're not exactly the same. The shade from Beauty Bay looks simpler, I would say, and it has more purple base. While these two, they are not that purple. And one more interesting shade from Cosmic Brushes, it's a kind of a mix of pink with golden. And this shade reminds me of this palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills and shade Rose Water. I think that they look kind of similar on eyelid, but the shade from Anastasia is more like a metallic, while this shade from Cosmic Brushes, it looks more like a taupe, like a sparkle. And as well, this shade from Beauty Bay looks quite similar to these two. And I would say that Beauty Bay might be a little bit closer, but it has more golden base, and this shade has more, I would say, rose golden base. But in some looks, they may look again quite similar. And I've just realized that I haven't described you all shades from this palette. We are gonna start from the star and from this beautiful triochrome. It's a mix of golden, light green, and purple, and even a little bit of pink. Beautiful, interesting shade. I'm impressed and I'm in love. Bright light pink, nothing to it. A mix of light green with extra glitters, and these glitters are light blue and light golden, I would say. On eyelid, this shade, it doesn't really have visible base, and it appears more like light golden. This shade, dark green with olive. Interesting, lovely, but quite complicated shade. It's not that easy to work with it. Dark green with a bit of blue. Interesting shade, looks perfectly with this one, and I suggest applying these two together, and they're kind of nice. This shade has visible base, and it's more like dark green. And this one, light mint shade with more green undertone. Dark burgundy with purple, yeah, with purple extra sparkles and a bit of red sparkles. Interesting shade, and it's more like a transition shade. So if you want to do a smoky eye, may work nicely as well. Bright pink, mid-tone bright pink. Fine, doesn't have any undertones. Orange. Actually, on eyelid, the shade looks a little bit orange. Okay, it's not really bright orange. It has a bit of brown undertone, but yeah, bear in mind that this shade is definitely warm. Dark burgundy shade with more purple undertone than with something red. Light green. Light green with extra glitters. Unexpectedly, honestly, I was a little bit surprised because this shade contains extra shimmers, but and at the same time, it's not dusty. It's not dusty at all. And by the way, all matte eyeshadows are not dusty. A mix of dark blue with green. Interesting shade, but it's a little bit tricky to work with it. And in most of the cases, this shade is quite tricky. A light blue, beautiful light blue with a bit of white. Interesting shade, but be careful with it. It has visible base and it's far better to layer it. And you know what? These shimmers, they can fall off a little bit. And it's related mainly to this particular shade. So the base is dark blue, and we have extra dark blue and a bit of green shimmers here. Light green even shimmers. Interesting, looks kind of nicely. This shade, it appears like something neutral in the palette, but in reality it looks like light pink on eyelid, and no undertone, maybe a little bit of beige, but more, it looks more pink on eyelid. These two shades, honestly, they can look exactly the same on eyelid. The only thing that here we have more golden shimmers, here we have more pink shimmers. So as a result, it's the mix. These two guys are a mix of golden and pink. Just simply more golden here, more pink here. I would say that this shade is dark brown with red undertone. Fine, okay, basic, interesting shade, but again, be careful with it. It's not that easy to blend these shades. You have to kind of, again, layer it and don't blend, don't mix, useless. And this one, black with blue. Yeah, kind of. Blue-black, blue-black. Yes, it has blue undertone. No jokes, really. And it's visible when you layer and when you layer the shade, especially over something blue. It's visible. And our last shade for today, it doesn't have visible base. By the way, these two guys, they don't have visible base as well. So it's better to apply them over something, or you can just simply apply them as simple glitters. This shade, it appears like something gray, but we have mainly kind of light gray, light silver shimmers here, and as well blue shimmers. And due to this shade works nicely with this blue story. And at the same time, you can try to combine it with something else, because we just simply have some glitters here. No base, as I've already told you. In overall, this palette is quite nice. I do like it, but it wasn't that easy to work with it. Now I know how to work with it, and probably I will try to catch some other palettes from this brand and will try to kind of follow it. I would say I'm impressed by the shimmers, because shimmers are definitely great. So let me know down below what you think about this palette from Cosmic Brushes. Do you like it or no? And have you tried any eyeshadow palettes from this brand? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if yes, don't forget to put a thumbs up, and of course consider subscribing. I wish you a pleasant day, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye bye!